you can just feel the force feedback grinding down with the brakes. Man, I love this sim. It's just special and woo. Hey legends, and welcome back to the least knowledgeable sim racing channel, where we're doing an early feature of rFactor 2's new mystery track, which hasn't actually been a mystery for a few days now. It's Spa. I'm talking about Spa. With Spa rounding out the collection, they now have most of the big endurance racing circuits of the world modeled in rFactor 2, sans perhaps Daytona. As per viewer request, what we're going to do today is compare it directly alongside the other industry-leading version of Spa found in Assetto Corsa Competizione. I'm going to save all the waffling and pointless ranting for the actual drive-through though, so for the time being, be sure to hit the subscribe button and bell to keep up with future sim racing news, such as the upcoming, or recently released, depending on when you see this, DLC for ACC, or heck, even my pitiful attempt at the upcoming 3 hours of Spa race right here in rFactor 2 land with William from Sim Racing Paddock, all to be live streamed for your amusement. Hey folks, welcome to Assetto Corsa Competizione. Now, you might be asking yourself, why are you in this game if you're showing us the new Spa track from rFactor 2? And there's two very good reasons for this. The first is that this is kind of the gold standard for GT driving as we know it. I mean, this is the version of Spa that everybody will drive in order to acquaint themselves with, the depth of the curbs and the details and having to really respect Eau Rouge and corners like that. The second reason is that I wanted to give Studio 397 a bit extra time to actually get their Spa track over to me, because it was a couple of hours late. It's now, I think, 2:30 AM here in Australia, so I'm pushing it. I want to get the video started, I want to get stuff out of the way so that we can actually move on. But if you're interested strictly in the rFactor 2 version of Spa, I'm going to have it down in the time code, just check it, and you can just skip past the ACC section completely. For the rest of us who want a basis for comparison, who want to compare the current ruler of the roost, as it were, to the upcoming contender, here we are. Let's try it out. So we're in the beautiful Butler Powell Motorsports liveried Audi R8 2019 LMS Evo with what should be the new 2020 tire model. So this is another thing that's just happened. In the course of about half an hour, as I was setting up this video, two things transpired. The first is that Studio 397 actually sent me the track. I saw the update happen in the back, so I know I now have access to it, which is awesome. The second thing happened in the space of a few minutes is that Kunoz released their GT World Challenge DLC. I'm so thankful Spa has a massive pit lane so we can talk through this before I start the warm-up lap. So this is the version 1.6 update of the game, the one with the new tire model, the one with the 2020 tire, but also the update to the tire model as a whole, updates to rolling resistance, updates to the way that it handles a contact patch and temperatures and all that fun stuff. So this is the thing that I was really rambling on about the other day. You don't say, mate. So one of the things that's meant to be the case with this is that you're meant to really feel cold tires, you're meant to really get that over and understeer effect. And one thing I've got to say about this laser scan version of Spa is that they've really gotten the bumps on pit exit. You can really feel that section going out there. I'm running the Fanatec on high sensitivity mode, very low interpolation to get as many forces from ACC as I can. So I have to kind of divide this up. I'm almost featuring Spa. Whoa, brakes are cold. So I'm featuring Spa, but almost featuring their new update at the same time, so there's so much for us to talk through here, I don't even know where to start. The first thing I can tell you is that cold tires really feel like cold tires. All the lines I know through here just aren't working. My brake points just aren't working, the tires just aren't responding, I'm not getting the grip. Now I've got to thank my pals at Butler Powell Motorsport for providing me with this amazing endurance setup for the R8. So we're not going to be setting any world records with our laps here, certainly not with the tires in this state anyway. But one thing it let me do is basically drive the car extremely consistently. So that's something I'm very grateful for. Obviously, this is an out lap just to warm up the tires, get the brakes up to temp, and we can talk about the rest from there. But I mean, this is the version of Spa that you know. This is basically the one that was worked off from the original AC, that the unofficial rFactor 2 version that one would have found online was based off originally. So a lot of common heritage here. Can I go? No, I can't go flat there. Not with cold tires. So I have no idea what temperature I'm going to end up with my tires after the out lap. I'm going to guess that it's not going to be high enough, but we're still going to pretend that it's going to be okay. So really cool damping forces as always in ACC. You can always feel when you're going at high speed, the downforce really pushes you down. That's when you really start to feel the undulations of the track surface as well. Coming up to the bus stop chicane, trying not to destroy myself immediately. Now, as you'll very soon notice, I'm not very fast at Spa, but I'm still going to try my best, especially while communicating with you guys about what's going on. So brake at the 100 board as always. I hope you guys appreciate that we're in the Audi and not the Ferrari 488 for once. I'm going to save the 488 for the feature of the GT World Challenge because they've updated the Ferrari. So you got to give me that, guys. You got to let me drive the Ferrari in the new update because they've updated it, right? I'm going to drive it at Imola. It's going to be great. It's all the stuff you've already seen everyone do on the live stream that I sadly wasn't a part of. But we'll have our own live stream or not live stream, whatever. We'll work it out. So, Eau Rouge, you really have to respect it in ACC. You can go flat, but the setup has got to be good, and you've got to really get the line right. If the line isn't right, things can go really hectic, and I missed the curb on the inside there. Now, this can really mess you up. These curbs are quite jagged and quite high. If you catch them on the wrong angle, they'll just bounce you right out. So one thing I really respect about this version of Spa is that angularity may not be your friend, unless you know your lines really well. Now this setup, just solid as ever. Really good job to the BPM guys. Just super, super solid. I think this is what they ran in some recent endurance race, maybe some SimGrid endurance race that I wasn't a part of. But I mean, it would have been very pleasurable to drive with this setup, that's for sure. Maybe not so much with a load of, 110 liters of fuel, but like this with about 15, I'm pretty happy. So we're going to be driving this exact same car with the same livery, no less, in rFactor 2 very, very shortly. So me getting a lot of rumbling and a lot of detail from the curbs, less so from the actual track surface itself. It's pretty challenging, I've got to say, to try and discern track undulations and detail from ACC because of the way that they do force feedback. It's very much more about conveying those more numb power steering forces rather than the extreme detail of rFactor 2. But I am feeling it. When I turn there, I can feel the undulations, I can feel the downforce pushing me down against the road, I can feel the irregularities in the surface. This chicane is absolutely brutal. If you catch the sausage curb, you're absolutely done. I'm going to try and go in for one more lap. I'm going to try and do it. Tires are almost up to spec. I'm going to see what we can do. I mean, not much of a lap, guys, but of course we overshoot T1 like an absolute pro. Shooting down towards Eau Rouge. Not feeling very much through the force feedback. We can see the cars bouncing. Yeah, we're getting some undulations there. You can tell it is laser scanned, of course. We all know this. Try not to spin out at Eau Rouge. Something very possible to do in ACC. You really have to respect that complex. As you would in real life, I'm sure. The forces would be magnificent. Alright, so coming down the straight. Gotta really brake as soon as the curb comes up on your left there. Get over that curb on the right. Over the curb on the left, really complete that complex as soon as you can, up to third, and then just get over that curb. You can be so aggressive with the new tire model. Just realized I haven't even spoken about the new tires and how they feel. So it's not the revolution I was hoping for, it's not the physical modeled thing and all that crap I was talking about, but it's a slight evolution like every other step in ACC has been so far. It's a little more communicative, over curbing at low speeds, just like they said it would be. You get a little bit more back from the car. It's still a little nebulous and vague if you lose traction in mid-speed corners. It's not really at the level of, a certain other sim, but that doesn't really matter. ACC does everything else so damned well. See, as you can see, I'm catching the car, I'm making things happen. Even when I make mistakes, I can catch the mistakes mid-corner. I'm basically driving it on the limit, slipping it around there. Seeing if I can get through flat. Apparently we can this time. Amazing setup once again to my pals at Butler Pal Motorsport. Very, very cool. There was a slight aero update made to this, the ACC, as part of the 1.6 update. Now, I can't really tell until I get into the setups and really tweak it around. But for the most part, it seems like a solid evolution of the game. As always, I'm really enjoying this version of Spa. Very unforgiving. You have to respect it. You got to do all the right things. And across the line for a very mediocre 218, which I will take with an endurance setup while commentating. So that's ACC. Brief intro of the new tire model, of the new 2020 tire as well. Really good setup on the car, really consistent. And yeah, I mean, this is currently the gold standard of Spa. So we're going to move on to rFactor 2 now and directly compare this exact same model of car, well, rFactor's version anyway, on the brand new Spa mesh in rFactor 2. It's going to be exciting. Welcome to rFactor 2. More importantly, the brand new Spa-Francorchamps track that just got sent to us about half an hour ago. It's 3 a.m. here in Australia, so I'm just keen to drive through this, talk through it with you guys, and then basically get to bed and just edit this video up tomorrow, hopefully in time for the embargo. So you'll be able to buy this on November 20th. I've not driven this track. I've not driven this track with this car. This is the first time. We're literally experiencing this for the first time together. I wanted you guys to get the raw impressions right out of the gate, so let's go. Alrighty, that rFactor 2 sound engine. Already stepping up in the world from ACC. Or not. Alright, I've tried to approximate where the force feedback should be. I haven't actually driven the Audi R8 in quite a while. But, you know, you guys are saying too much Ferrari, so alright, too much Ferrari. Here's the Audi R8. I'm going to try this out. This all looks very familiar from the unofficial version of the track, I've got to say. Now, these pits are a little shorter than the ACC ones. Alright, here we go. Here we go for the first time ever. Well, I'm excited. How's Rouge going to feel with extremely cold tires? Let's try it flat, boys. Let's try it flat. Can we do it flat? Oh, man. Alright. Oh, come on. Alright. So, okay. So, it's much easier flat than it is in ACC, much to nobody's surprise. I've really got to... The track limits are a bit more of a thing in this version of the track. Alright. Breakpoint at the same place. Easier to brake. Oh my god, alright. Car's a little snappy. Tires aren't up to temp yet. It's so communicative at the limit. The curves are so... You can feel every bit of detail. Oh, you can just feel the force feedback grinding down with the brakes. Man, I love this sim. It's just special, and woo! Alright, so the default setup of the R8 is what we're using. I haven't tweaked it for this track whatsoever. I either have to wait for the tires to warm up or I have to give it a bit of extra rear wing because it's very slidey. But then again, that is an rFactor thing. The aliens are always drifting the cars all over the place. Unfortunately, one of the big drawbacks of the current physics model. Just trying to... It's so different to driving the AC version. You're just driving it on the limit constantly and cutting track limits, it would appear. I'm used to driving the old version. Easy flat through there, basically. Tires are almost up to temp already. I've given us enough for 4 laps so we can really talk through and experience this. You know what I mean? You drive this in ACC, you pretty much know what to expect. I mean, both games do a tremendous job modeling this track. Bit of a different experience doing it in rFactor though, I've got to say. It's the way one of you guys put it in my comments one day was, oh wow, the breakpoints are a little bit later in this one. So the way one of you put it in my comments once was pretty much perfect. You said that the force feedback in ACC was reactive, whereas in rFactor 2 it's proactive. In this title, it's giving me everything I need to know about what the car's going to do at any possible juncture. I'm getting all the information that I need. Whereas in ACC, it's much more focused on just giving me the experience I would actually have in the car. It's not oversaturating me with forces I wouldn't necessarily experience through the column. All right, let's try it again. Eau Rouge flat. Let's do it. 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 Come on. Come on. Yes. Yes. Easy flat. Eau Rouge. Warm tires. Loving it. Life's good. Feels good, this version of the track, guys. If you've played the unofficial version, let's call it, this is quite the market improvement. I think it's an absolute no-brainer. Curbs aren't quite as brutal as ACC, much to nobody's surprise, I'm sure. Car you can drive a lot more on the power. See, I'm not driving it nearly aggressively enough for rFactor. Can really get on the brakes a little bit later. The brakes are a lot more potent in rFactor, I've got to say. Oh, straight over that. Oh, beautiful. Hey, it wasn't even track limits. Maybe we can get a lap time here. I'm kind of curious what it would be. On my second lap ever, on my first ever proper lap, I guess, that isn't an out lap. Oh, let's try it, guys. Let's actually try and get like a semi-decent lap time, or at least maybe quicker than ACC. Am I capable of such things? Oh yeah, drive it on the limit like the aliens, Zerman. Drift everywhere, all the time. The aliens don't drive like this. Oh yeah, there we go. Oh man, is it gonna, can I do it? Oh my god, it feels so different to ACC there. So you're definitely sliding the car a lot more in this one, but I mean, that's nothing to do with the track. It's a lot more to do with, you know, what rFactor is as a sim at this point in time. Now, real road has not saturated the track completely. There's definite points of low grip. I'm just trying not to get a track limits violation. I want a lap time for my first ever lap, guys. Wow, you can really leave that brake point till late. So late. Whoa. The curbs aren't as, I don't know, they either don't feel as detailed or something. 2:17, woo! I know that's not an impressive time, guys, but, you know, for like a first ever proper lap on Spa, while talking to you, not too bad, right? Speaking of which, you will find me at the 3-hour invitational event, driving with my buddy William from Sim Racing Paddock. It's going to be amazing. You guys should sign up. It's, I believe, on December 4th. You can find all the details on Studio 397's page. I'd love to see you guys there. The more the merrier. It's a big endurance event. There's precursor events as well. I think a sprint race, the 2s cars, LMP2s, Cup cars. I'll be in the GTE. Guess which one? Guess which GTE car they're going to put Herman into? Hint, it's the Ferrari. It's the Ferrari. I'm going to be in the 488. So, the curbs aren't anywhere near as unforgiving as ACC. They almost feel like they're not as detailed. I don't know whether that's actually the case, or maybe the graphics engine isn't capable of rendering that detail. But they're far easier. I mean, they always have been in rFactor. The curb behavior of this title is very forgiving. I think probably in that sense closer to life than ACC is. If you're a GT3 driver, you know, feel free to correct me. I am just a pleb after all. But I do enjoy the limit behavior of this title. Now, in terms of the track quality, I would say it's on par with the ACC one. I mean, in terms of the mesh and the feel, visually, obviously, the ACC one is notably better. It just, you know, the way it goes when you're building a title on Unreal Engine 4, as opposed to a very aged, decade-old engine. But it feels good, guys. I'm getting all the nice forces from the rumble strips. Really enjoying driving the car way too hard. I've already burnt up the tires for the most part. We've got maybe enough fuel for one more lap after this. It's gonna be so fun. I wonder, can I go? My tires are probably too wasted, but I might try and go in for like one full proper lap. My god, the brake point can be late there. I've got to watch out. The low speed behavior in rFactor is so very different to ACC. The car just wants to slide everywhere. Maybe we've got a bit more rubber going on. My time's getting worse, as one might expect. Alright, the curbs pull you in there now. Some decent detail in the curbing. I wonder what's the mesh and what's the physics engine lacking in rFactor, I've got to say. You know, oh man, try not to have that inside curve spin me out. I'm sure it's going to happen. It'll happen in the GTE car, no doubt. Especially on aged tires. Hey, they gave us a helicopter. Hey, Chief. How's it going? All right, brake late, son. Oh yeah, get on the grass, make it all happen. rFactor very kind to curb behaviors. Oh man, it's so much more drifty than ACC. It's probably that, I don't know, just that drivetrain and the aero model. It's not quite as connected on the rear end as ACC is. Track feels remarkable. The cars have got to go a little bit further. It's so strange. It's like what each sim lacks, I get in the other one. It's so frustrating. I'm so divided, so torn between these two sims because the limit behavior, what I'm feeling through the wheel in this title is so good. It's so fun, but it's not quite realistic. I shouldn't be drifting this much. I mean, the micro corrections on the limit are great. I mean, you would be doing that for sure, but I mean, not to this level, right? I mean, obviously I'm driving like crap, but that being beside the point, some of the quickest times in the race that you're going to see are going to come from guys that are basically just sliding around every corner. Now I'm gonna try and be one of them. I'm gonna try and get coaching from the aliens on the team so I can show you how to not drive like real life. But hey, it should be fast, right? Look, anyway guys, the track, I'm loving it. It's so much fun. I think we were told it's going to be $8.99. I'm guessing €8.99, maybe $8.99 USD. You're gonna have to check in your regional currency. It's obviously gonna differ per regionality. One thing I will say is that I went to the bathroom while this was loading, came back and still waited like another 10 minutes on top, so it's definitely nice, Sermon. It just got worse and worse and worse. It really burnt out those tires. So the loading times are kind of what you'd expect from the autism of Studio 397. It's basically like the Nürburgring. You kind of leave it, you go out, have a smoke, have lunch, whatever you need to do, make a coffee, because it's going to take a while to load for the first time. The mesh is obviously immensely detailed. Spa, maybe not as good a contender as a track like Sebring to give you an idea of what's going on with the mesh, because it's not as bumpy, it's a very flat track, obviously FIA approved F1 track. Rouge looks so good, or Radeon if you want to call it that, when the sun lights it up. I love it. You really get the driving line through here. I can't wait to do the endurance event. Maybe we'll see a bit of nighttime. It'll be so good. Details feel really good, guys. I think the current drawback in this game is the physics of the GT cars, the lack of the drivetrain model, and all the things that we've spoken about for many, many years. The track, absolutely amazing. If you like Spa, I mean, there's no reason not to get it. Studio 397 consistently make top-tier leading tracks in sim racing, and this, if anything, in terms of the mesh, is at least at the quality level of ACC, if not slightly higher. Obviously, the visuals aren't quite there, but you know, it is what it is. It's an aged game. What's more to say, guys? See me at the 3-hour invitational event on December 4th. I hope to see as many of you guys there as can qualify or enter. I don't even know what the cutoff is. Make sure to hit the subscribe, hit the bell. The next video, which I'm going to do, I think tomorrow. No idea when it's going to come out. It's going to be my feature of the ACC GT World Challenge as well as the 1.6 tire update. We're really going to put it through its paces. We're going to check out Imola, going to check out the Ferrari 48 Evo, same car we checked out in this title. It's all good. All my favorite things are coming to all my favorite sims, guys. It's a great time to be a sim racer. Pick up Spa. Until next time, I'll see you guys later.